I don't think the performative stuff was very helpful at all last night. But, you know, here's the deal. Both parties in some ways are captives of their bases. And I think that there are a lot of members of Congress who probably come from districts that are overwhelmingly Democratic, who feel like their constituents are expecting them to be very actively protesting what the president is doing. So just as on the Republican side, you know, the base loves the stuff that enrages people who aren't in the base. And so the members respond to that. This is one of the problems with a highly polarized country.
Mark?
Well, look, I think the reality is that the president loves having a foil, and I think the Democrats looked foolish last night waving those silly paddles. And I think Al Green looked like an angry old man waving a cane, and I think that that just benefits the president. And it sort of paints a caricature of what his opposition is. And so I think that he relishes that sort of a foil, and I think Democrats played right into his hand last night.
During the course of the event, which is wanting to get reaction on Congressman Al Green's antics and being ejected, 80% of speech watchers said that the Democratic congressman's interrupting of Trump's speech was inappropriate. Only 20% of speech watchers thought what Green did was appropriate, Aaron.
Wow. So, as you know, Democrats are getting roasted by damn near everybody, by MSNBC, fellow Democrats themselves. And John Fetterman came out and said this sad charade of self-owned and unhinged petulance, it only makes Donald Trump look more presidential and restrained. We're becoming the metaphorical car alarms that nobody pay attention to, and it may not be a winning message. Giving bingo. Democrats' silent protest against Trump falls flat. Imagine that. A senator from the Democratic Party is saying that, right? And this is something I've been warning. I think many people warn. I remember I did a video. I'm sorry, guys. I did a lot of videos. But I'll point back to it just to show you that this is not like me piggybacking or bandwagoning. First, I called out how Kamala Harris's campaign was going to collapse a month before it actually did, right? And the signs are there. All I look at is trends. Trends are leading indicators. And I'm seeing a trend of people walking away from the Democratic Party.
I cannot tell you how refreshing it was to wake up this morning and hear from other Democrats and see on my post other Democrats who are just as furious and ready to friggin' jump ship as I am. I am not buying into what they're selling, because after what we saw yesterday, I'm actually glad that they pulled that yesterday, because people like me who have been disillusioned by the Democratic Party for a long time got to see an evilness there, got to see a diabolical side of the Democratic Party who's basically saying, we want you to fail. We don't care if you fail. It's like the scene in The Wizard of Oz when they finally go back to see the great Oz and they pull the curtain back and it's just a little old man just standing there like that doesn't have a fucking clue. I'm not going to be afraid to like voice my opinion anymore. I'm done. I am done. I am done. And you're not going to bully me off my own page by thinking logical thoughts. I'm not going to be gaslit by my own party. Not one day more. Not one day more.
And you see, like from the walkaway movement all the way till now, Democrats always have this problem that once people become critical and skeptical of their aims, their intentions, and where those outcomes actually lead, people start finding out it doesn't matter if a policy sounds good. It matters if it actually does good, right? And I like to equate Democratic policies to someone you're in a relationship with. Someone can tell you they love you, they adore you, they buy you all the stuff that you want. But that person with their actions cheats on you, dismisses you, don't acknowledge you, don't take your thoughts into consideration, always putting you second or last or whatever. You're going to start saying, yo, you say you love me, but all your actions shows me you don't truly love me. You're cheating on me. You're doing all this other stuff. You're disrespecting me. You're crossing my boundaries. Is that someone that loves you? But they say they do, but their actions tell you otherwise. And this is the Democratic Party. Here's Jasmine Crockett, who I promised you on the last video that I will show you This is a Democratic congresswoman, right? This is an ex account I like to follow. Look at this crazy. Now it has a Kendrick Lamar song on the background, so I'm not gonna play it for you.
Stuff like this, bro.
I'm not gonna play it for you, but you'll see it. This is what she's doing. Look, this is a congresswoman, guys. Look at this ratchetness. She don't represent me, by the way. Look at that. Tongue out. What? Tongue out. Let me see his commentary. I think the song's done.
Like championing this shit right here. This is crazy, bro. She's doing the chick that's drunk at the club face. That's what is she doing here? This is the ratchet tongue. She's doing the ratchet tongue, bro. The ratchet tongue, man. Y'all don't remember when Cardi B was doing that fucking
You I don't know how this is gonna come across, but Jasmine Crockett being a congresswoman is like having Cardi B as your congresswoman. A moment of silence for the Democratic Party. Let's take a look at this next clip. Let's get back to more serious stuff. But this is why Democrats get roasted. You're not a serious party, Democrats. You're not. In 2025, you're not a serious party. You're performative. This is why a lot of people don't like you guys. You guys don't stand for nothing. Your only motivation in life right now is to resist Donald Trump at any cost. It could be if Donald Trump says, yo, isn't it a good thing that this kid survived cancer? You guys will scream no because Trump is on the other side of that issue. Make that make sense. But hey, like I said before, and I warned numerous times on my channel, and it seemed like it don't matter what I say. And fine, it doesn't matter. I'm just an American who vote. What the hell do I know? I'm just an American that vote. But you see that many people are coming around to the idea that, yeah, this party finito.
The Democratic Party itself is frankly an irrelevant political party. They don't have a message. Their policy positions have left cities across this country in shambles. I mean, even last night, let's just think about this for a minute. The president highlighted DJ, the young kid who's dealing with cancer survivor. They didn't even have enough decency to stand and applaud. He highlighted the mother whose daughter was killed by an illegal immigrant. They didn't stand and applaud. He talked about law enforcement, not the bad guys, but the ones who are doing good work every day across this country, keeping our cities safe. They didn't stand and applaud. It appears to me that the Democratic Party, in my personal opinion, is a party that is in chaos right now.
You think
they have no idea which direction
Sir Michael,
to go.
with all due respect, you think Democrats are going to...
Oh, absolutely.
Wait, let me say this. You think Democrats should applaud Donald Trump when he talks about law enforcement?
No, but a kid with cancer.
Stop. Let me just... No, excuse me. In that very chamber where Donald Trump's goons try to harm the people that were sitting there and applauding Donald Trump. You want Democrats to take advice from Donald Trump about law enforcement?
It's not about taking advice, Julie. Some things should just simply be above politics.
Right.
And those are three instances
where
Democrats could have simply applauded.
I'm sorry.
You don't have to like the president to say these are good things.
This president is cutting funding for childhood cancer. You want to know what he's cutting funding for? The NIH. The CDC, he's got a wacko as the head of HHS. And you want to talk about it. I'm sorry, I'm very happy for that kid. I'm very happy for that kid. I'm glad that his lifelong dream came true and he became, a cop or whatever he wanted to become. But the bottom line is that all it does is accentuate the horrors that Donald Trump is imposing on kids with cancer.
Democrats seemed pathetic and they seemed petulant in their behavior last night. And if they think that's going to help them going into midterms next year, I say keep going.
But what about...
And to add more insult to injury, I found out, I did my research on DJ Daniels, which is the kid that was at the joint address. And I saw those clips of black people mocking him because he wanted to be a cop, right? There's these, you saw that ratchet behavior from Jasmine Crockett. Well, this kid got people who were mocking him, making fun of him, right? In the street because he decks himself out in police uniform, police attire. And he was getting mocked by black kids in the hood. Yup, I tell you, some in my life, even in my personal experience, some of my biggest obstacles, some of my biggest haters, some of my biggest naysayers were everyone who shared the same skin color as me. And that might go for everybody, but they want to worry about racism. Okay, here's a quote from him. I'm going to keep on going until my gas tank runs out. And that's when God calls you home. You know when you never know when God's going to call you home. This man has a better grip on life than 95% of adults.
But you want to know the craziest part? Because my mom bathes me and my brothers all together. and out of nowhere I locked up, and then my dad was calling my name, and I started going to the slow thing, and he said, "Stop playing with me," and I start. And then I started to act, I ain't gonna lie, I started to act slow. And then as soon as he said that, we was speeding all the way, running lights, going to the hospital. And then next thing you know, I was seizing on the table. They said, "Nah, we gonna have to go in his brain tonight." Ever since then, I had 13 brain surgeries, and that's how many times my personality has changed. And that's
One thing I do know is that people who face death, they got a lot of perspective on life, right? And the fact that Democrats is gonna die on this hill of just pure resistance. Like, Democrats set themselves up for failure. That's what I'm gonna say here. Democrats set themselves up for failure. They have the whole country kind of against them right now, right? I just showed you a poll where 80% of people who watched the speech disagreed with what the Democrats are doing. I believe it was 27% Democrats watched it. Like about 30% of independents watch it. Majority of it is going to be Republicans, obviously. And they polled the Democrats, and majority of the Democrats did not like what they saw on the joint session by the Democrats. So Democrats, you're on the another instance of you being on the opposite of an 80-20 issue. Trump just takes the popular side, and you reflectively go on the your patterns have been called out. Your patterns of behavior has been called out. And this is why many people are pretty much calling your grave. That my prediction, I know not to toot my own horn, but I made a video where I said Republicans have an opportunity to dominate politics for the next 10 years at least. And the way the Democrats are going, it could even be more. Let's take a look at this commentary between Bill O'Reilly and Chris Cuomo and their thoughts about the trajectory of the Democratic Party.
Donald Trump last night did what he wanted to do. Number one, he got on the record that his accomplishments in the first 6 weeks were fairly extraordinary, which is true, both good and bad. And number two, he taunted the Democratic Party into making a myriad of mistakes. I think the Democratic Party is on the verge of collapse. And I liken it to 1931, when Herbert Hoover and the Republican Party basically said to the very suffering American people in the Depression, "We're not helping you. You got to do it on your own. It's all about self-reliance. We're not going to give you any safety nets." That led to 5 consecutive Democratic wins. 5. Not until Dwight Eisenhower, 20 years later, did the Republicans recover. I see the same scenario for the Democrats. So I wrote a message of the day on BillO'Reilly.com, which I know you read every morning, first thing. It said, hey, didn't the far left, the Elizabeth Warrens, used to be against war, Vietnam, they're against Iraq, Afghanistan, they didn't want to whack Soleimani.
And there's another call out that many people are noticing, the Glenn Greenwalds of the world. Many we have to make a distinction here. When I talk about liberals, I'm talking about the unhinged ones. Usually I preference the common sense liberals, right? Like, I think Glenn Greenwald would be considered one. Jimmy Dore, I believe, is also one. Right? He's more of a progressive, but he lives in reality. Pretty much that's what common sense means. You live in reality, you observe reality, you see what I see and say, yeah, that's a bear. Okay, it's not a pigeon. We're good. That's reality. And the fact that progressives come out here, they talk about how they're the part of the working class, that they do this for the working class, it doesn't hold any weight, because we see you guys, like, you use the working class as a pawn for your own ends. And many Americans are waking up to this reality.
Biden didn't even want to get bin Laden. Well, wasn't that their posture?
And the fact that on a dime, and this is what a lot of common sense liberals call them out. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. On a dime, they change on positions where you expect consistency from them. And this is why I think a lot of the times no one knows what the Democratic Party stands for, because they know on a dime, if they say, we want gun bans, if Donald Trump says, come out tomorrow and says, hey, I want to ban all the guns, they're going to be like, no, don't ban all the guns, because Donald Trump is trying to take over the country through military force, and we need all our Americans to have the means to resist him. Democrats on a dime will switch up and be pro-gun. at this point, I believe it to be reality. This is why I say Donald Trump is the true leader of the Democratic Party, and no Democrat can argue with me on this point. Donald Trump's the true leader of the Democratic Party. If Donald Trump says I'm for gun bans, Democrats will come out and say they're against gun bans and get them to vote with the Republican. Maybe that should be a strategy. Just to mess around. If I was Trump, I'll say, I have an announcement today. I want to ban all guns in this country so I can take over with military force. The Democrats will sign a pro-gun legislation so fast your head will spin because it's against Trump. Trump is playing them like a fiddle. Trump is like a coach that has the opposite team's entire playbook. Oh, that's Alpha 9. I know that playbook. We're going to do this defense. Shut them down completely. Democrats, I've been talking about how Democrats need to update their playbook, but, don't listen to me.
But now, all of a sudden, they want to go in Ukraine and go and go and go and go. What happened? What happened was Trump hatred. And that's what the headline is of the speech last night. When you are hating someone, you lose all perspective. You lose all feeling. You're consumed.
Trump derangement syndrome. Imagine that. The thing that they fueled.
Donald Trump last night.
Sorry.
Did
the thing that fueled them, that helped them possibly win 2020, that barely beat Trump in 2020, is now the very thing that's destroying them in 2025. Imagine that. Their hatred for Trump will let you sit here and see this moment here.
Thing I got for you, big hug. Okay, good.
And somehow, I can't clap for that. I can't clap. There's nothing above politics. That's what the Democratic Party has told you. Everything's political. Their opposition to Trump, their hatred for Trump, the fact that they lost power, everything's political for the Democratic Party. And this is why they get destroyed, because you guys, Democrats go by a different name in my community, right? I'm talking about the Black conservative community. They go by the fear hustlers. That's the Democratic Party, and that's their messaging. Let's take a look at this interaction, and I'll wrap up with my final thoughts.
But who's cutting Medicaid, Medicare, Social Security?
Excuse me,
we're not taking that away from anybody.
There is a proposal
we're
from
not,
Republicans
but we're
on
not,
Medicaid.
but we're not taking
How
that
could-
away from
how
anyone.
could you have
Democrats
voted for the
keep using
blueprint?
this talking point
It's
as
the-
a scare tactic. Elon Musk, the president, the House Majority Leader, the Senate Leader, we have not cut anyone's Social
How are
Security,
you
Medicaid,
cutting?
or
Excuse me.
Medicare.
How are you cutting $880 billion from the Energy and Commerce Appropriation Committee from the Energy and Commerce Committee unless you cut Medicaid?
Do you think those things are solvent?
Excuse me? Do you think?
simple question.
Answer my question.
It's a simple financial
no.
question.
Would it bankrupt the program if they took that much money away from it? I don't think so. Right? The whole thing is making it efficient. If I can provide you the same service, and this is where Democrats lose the plot. Republicans say we want to cut $1 billion from fraud, waste, and abuse in the Medicare system. We already know that Doge found reportedly $100 billion of misused funds in Medicare. Republicans' proposition is, hey, we don't want to tax you more money, Americans, to provide you a lesser service. If we can provide you the same amount of service with less cost and return money back to you, would you do that trade? Many people will say yes. If I can give you faster internet at a lower price than my competitor, would you sign up for that deal? Yes, you would. That's the proposition Republicans are making. But here, look how the Democrats spin it. Because end of the day, the only purpose that Democrats and their ilk have is that they want to justify making you put them back in power. And Republicans' only job right now is not to give them a case. And so far, so good. Republicans are trying to solve the problems. They're trying to focus on the issues and bash Democrats over the head here and there. But that's politics. And all I ask is, and this is why I made my channel, because I want to talk to people. I want to talk directly to Americans, anyone around the world, about what's going on here in our politics, about what's the nature of politics. Is the nature of politics only a pursuit of power? Or could we put some ethics around the pursuit of power and saying, hey, we only got the power is the bargaining chip. The power is something that the American people or people in general across the world will give an official if they propose something that is in the benefit of the people themselves. And all I'm telling people is that you don't give these politicians, you don't give these officials power unless there's some type of problem that they're going to plan to solve with this power. and that you're observant and you pay attention to every move they make. See how transparent they are. Like Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer is not transparent. He's forsaking his own people because he believes he's their better. Next time, you learn from that and say, hey, we're not going to put someone like Keir Starmer in power anymore because they'll use and abuse us. This is the lesson that Americans learned in 2020. And now European Union's mad. We don't care, European Union. We're looking out for ourselves. Canada out here threatening to cut off our power. All right, Canada, the nation with only 63 fighter jets. We're not going to defend you anymore. Well, okay, if you're going to cut off our power, we'll cut off your defense. We're not going to defend you then. When Russia comes on your border, we'll be like, oh, you cut off our power. We're not going to defend you. This is what I'm talking about. Like, these Europeans, like, I don't know if y'all got too, like, y'all egos got too big for the instigation that y'all trying to cash out here. Y'all need us more than we need y'all. Honestly, I'm being honest now. I'm being honest. I'm speaking very frankly here. This is a miscalculation if you think you're gonna go toe to toe with America and somehow come out the victor. But I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How you feel about the Democratic Party? Is this walkaway movement 2015 all over again? Are more and more Americans waking up to the scam that is the Democratic Party? I'd like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Do you disagree with me? I'd like to hear your thoughts and your perspective in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share this video if you feel so inclined, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.